How's it going, everybody? It's your boy Marc from Showzone here. And if you're looking how to parallel your Diamond Dynasty hitters and pitchers as fast as possible, you definitely came to the right place. As you can see, I have my whole ranked team nearly P5. The only card I'm missing is this Arenado, so he will be next, but everyone else is parallel 5'd. It's a super simple method, it's super easy, and I'm going to break it down step by step. So without wasting any of your time, let's just hop right into it. All right, so we'll start by going over the basics, how you're going to structure your lineup, and then the method in a nutshell. We're going to cover it in more detail along with some gameplay a little bit later, but I just want to get the basics out of the way. Both of the methods I'm going to show you are on play versus CPU using the veteran difficulty. The reason for veteran is due to the slight parallel boost you get playing on that rather than rookie. Even if you're a top player, there's no point in playing on All-Star. You're going to get way better RNG on veteran. A lot of the times on All-Star, it's very unforgiving. And look, I'm a top player. I do all my parallel grinding on veteran. There's no shame in it. It's literally the most beneficial for you to do it on veteran. So don't do All-Star or higher, please. Just don't. Now, moving on to the lineup, you want to have your priority card that you want to parallel the most in your number one spot. Then your 2 through 6 hitters are going to be other guys you want to get parallel with, but they're not your highest priority. I would rank them in their priority. So the second card that you want to end up P5ing, you're going to put them in the 2 and so on. 7 through 9 are going to be your 3 bunters. Currently in the game, there's only 4 guys that have at least 90 speed and 90 plus bunting. They're the John Donaldson Chase card. Garrett Hampson has a bronze card. He plays on the Royals. And then there's Jackie Robinson from the new program. And then a captain hitter, Ozzie Smith. Me personally, I didn't take the Ozzie Smith, so I'm using the other 3 guys. If you don't have John Donaldson, go and buy him. He's one of the best pitchers in the game, and he's also one of the best bunters in the game. He's pretty cheap. Last time I checked, he was around 20 to 30K. And then the other 2 cards are pretty much free, so you're not going to spend a lot of stubs on that. Now, moving on to the method in a nutshell, you want to lead off the game with a solo home run from your number 1 guy. And then 2 through 6, you're going to want to try to get through them without making an out. If you could hit a home run with them, that's great for their parallel, but it doesn't really have an impact on what you're doing with your number 1 guy. So as long as you're not making an out, or even if you make 1 out, you're setting yourself up pretty nicely. Once you get to your 7th hitter, you want to bunt those 3 guys on. When we get to the gameplay, I'm going to show you how I do that. But this is pretty key. You want to get at least 2 guys on, so that way you could hit a 3-run home run or a grand slam with your number 1 guy up before quitting and repeating. So your goal is to get 2 home runs, preferably with 4 RBIs or 5 RBIs total in 1 inning. That's an ideal scenario. It's not going to happen every time, but that's what you're aiming for. All right, so we're going to hop into the 2 methods here. The first method is the one that I use, and it requires you to be on the next gen version of the game. The reason for this is because you'll have access to custom stadiums. There's already a ton of them saved in the vault, so you don't have to make any yourself. You could just go and download one. I put 3 of them here that I alternate between. They're all the same thing. They all have small borders and max elevation. This is going to bail you out a lot. If you're doing this for hours, you're going to end up having some shitty swings, and they will bail you out. So having these custom stadiums are really nice with this method. The only downside to this method is that you will have to pitch at least 1 inning. If you can't hit through the whole lineup in the first inning, you will have to pitch 2 innings, but you're getting parallel with your pitchers, so in my opinion, it's still really beneficial. The second method is going to be the only option that you could use if you're on an old gen console. You don't have access to custom stadiums, so for this one, you're going to play the Rockies as the away team. Coors Field has the highest elevation, so you'll be able to hit the most home runs there out of any MLB stadium. But the nice thing about this method is you won't have to pitch if you could hit through the lineup in the first inning. With that being said, because you're playing at an MLB stadium, it's going to be harder to hit through your whole lineup in the first inning. So most likely you're still going to have to pitch 1 inning when you play at Coors, unless you're really good at the game or really good at veteran. Even me, sometimes being a top player, there's still times I don't hit through the whole lineup in the first inning at Coors, so I still have to pitch. So in my opinion, it just makes more sense to do the first method if you're on next gen, since you're most likely going to end up having to pitch 1 inning most games anyways. So it's up to you on which method you want to do. Me personally, I would go with the first method. All right, and last but not least, before we hop into the actual gameplay, I'm going to give you guys a few tips. Tip number 1, when you're playing versus the computer, you do have the ability to select the pitcher that you want to face from the opposing team. So I always play against the Rockies, and I know that currently with their starting rotation, their fourth pitcher is a lefty and their fifth pitcher is a righty. So when I make my lineup, I look to see how many righties and lefties I have. If I have a lot of righties in the lineup, I want to pick that fourth pitcher, so I know I'm facing a lefty. It just gives me the advantage for the pitcher. How you do this is, say I do want to face their number 4 pitcher, the lefty. I put my pitcher that I'm going to use in my 4 spot, and I make sure that pitchers 1 through 3 in my starters are higher overall or the same. And then the 5th pitcher I want to make sure is the same overall as my 4th pitcher or lower. This will keep him in the 4th spot, so when I select them in the pregame lineup screen, they will automatically face me up against the other team's 4th best pitcher. So you could pick who you want to start. If you start a reliever, it's random. They'll pick anyone. So just know that going into it. Tip number 2, be patient. Veteran is super easy to hit on. Look for pitches at the top of the strike zone and just try to get a bit under them. If you swing at a lot of pitches, even if they're in the strike zone and they're low, you have a high chance of them being lineouts, ground outs, singles, doubles. You still will hit some home runs on them, but the probability is not nearly as high as pitches that are near the top of the strike zone. So be patient. You're trying to make no outs in the first inning, so don't swing at everything. Tip number 3, even if you don't hit a home run on your first at bat of the game, don't quit. In order for the PXP to save, you need to hit through your 8th hitter, so you need to get to your 9th hitter. You don't have to use them, so it's not worth quitting out. You'll still get the parallel for the plate appearance, and then if you get a single, you'll get an extra 10. If you can end up hitting them in, you'll get an extra 5. So it's not completely useless if you don't hit a home run on your first at bat. That's just the ideal scenario. Before we go and hop in this game, I'm going to show you what my parallel team looks like. I have the Nolan in the 1 spot because he's my main priority. 2 through 6, I have all of these different hitters that I want to parallel up. I'm getting to that point where I don't use a lot of these guys. They're just kind of filling spots. That's why this method is really good when you have a lot of cards that you want to parallel, so you could fill up these 2 through 6 spots. And then 7, I have Garrett Hampson. 8, I have Jackie Robinson. And 9, I have John Donaldson. I've been doing relievers lately, so I haven't really touched my starters. So I've been trying to get all my starting relievers all P3. So for this video, I'm going to show you the pitching thing, how to pick your opponent's pitcher. So I'm not going to use any of these guys. So I want to work on, let's see, I think I'm going to work on Skeens a little bit. So I'm going to put Skeens in my 4 spot, and you can see Noble Mile right there is up to a 95, and Paul's playing up to a 93 with the parallel. So this 93 will still work being in front of him, but Noble will get pushed in front of Skeens if I leave him there. So what we're going to do is we're just going to swap these guys. So that way I have a 99, a 96, and a 95, a 93, and then a 93. So that way Paul will stay there. So let's go ahead and we'll hop in the game. We're going to go to Play vs CPU, Rockies on Veteran. We're going to go to the home field. Go over to your custom stadiums. It'll take a second to load. You can see I have a bunch of them downloaded. I'm going to use this one. This one has been my favorite lately. Then you'll see Paul is there in the 4 spot. You know, this lineup actually does have a lot of lefties, so I should have probably put him in the 5th spot. But you'll see when we get into the game, we'll be facing a lefty. I forgot his name. I think it's Freeland. Yeah, Kyle Freeland. So that's just to show you how the pitching thing works, and now we'll get into the actual gameplay part of it. All right, now that we're in the game, we're going to cover pitching. If you're using a starter, intentionally walk the first guy. This will allow your pitcher to pitch from the stretch. They'll pitch a lot faster than from the windup. It will be a little bit harder to perfect your pitches, but you'll get into a rhythm. It won't be bad. I normally just throw fastballs on the outside of the plate. If I get down to 2 strikes, I might throw them like a slider like this.
1, 2.
Try to get them to swing and miss. Ideally, you're just trying to dot the corners. The computer doesn't really like swinging at them, and you'll just be able to get through the half inning as fast as possible.
Right. Hoo-yah. Oh-yeah. 0-2.
All right, now let's move on to the hitting. All right, so now for the hitting part, you're going to want to try and lead off with this home run. So be patient. I luckily got a pitch right down the middle for my first pitch. That wasn't even a good swing. If I'm playing at Coors, that probably doesn't get out. So that just shows you how good it is to be at a custom stadium. Now that we're on our 2 through 6 hitters,
That's
you
a
just
ball.
try to make no outs here. Doesn't matter
One
if you're
ball,
hitting
no
home runs or
strikes.
not. Just try to not make outs and just keep getting on base or doing stuff like that. And that's another example of why you don't swing at low pitches. Luckily, it got down and I got a single, but more often than not, that's going to be an out. All right, and just like that, we put ourselves in the best possible scenario. We got the home run on our leadoff hitter, and now we're to our bunters with no outs. This gives us the chance to still get done in 1 inning and get at least 1 RBI. You know, you have no outs, so only one of these 3 bunters need to get on to get Nolan back up again. But ideally, you want to get all 3 on. How I bunt is I push my right stick to the right to tell the computer that I want to aim my bunt towards that right hand side, and I drag bunt. You'll start to learn the timing of when to actually show the bunt the more you play. It's not something I could really teach you. It's just something you're going to have to learn. And if you'll know it's a perfect bunt when you get it towards the second baseman, and over time you'll start to be able to tell when you're going to get on or if you're not going to get on. But be patient here too. Don't try and bunt stuff outside the zone. Be patient, and let's get it. Just like that. That wasn't even that great of a pitch. You could see my timing was early, but he still got it down. You'll know it's a good bunt when it says perfect, but I was able to tell that I was going to get on as soon as I hit that. Okay, that right there is not good at all. I was early again. Caused me to pop the ball up, but not the end of the world. We're still 100% getting Nolan up right now. We just want to get this guy on too, and he's going to be on right there. That's a great bunt. So let's imagine I got that second guy on. Let's imagine Jackie got on and we had the bases loaded now. So now, just got to try and hit another home run. Just like that. 3-run home run. Should have been a grand slam if I was a little bit more patient. And then now that we're hit that, we could quit out of here. We'll go to the parallel. Because it was 3 RBIs in that last home run and not a grand slam, it won't be the full 104 parallel you would get if it was a grand slam and solo shot. But we still got 99, so you're only losing out a 5 parallel for having 1 less RBI. But that's a pretty ideal game right there. I appreciate everyone tuning in. If you did enjoy this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Leave some comments if you have any questions. Join the Show Zone Discord. I'm always active in there, can answer any questions. And check out my YouTube channel too. I just created it, and I'm going to be uploading a video soon on how to flip in the most efficient way to make a ton of stubs so you could afford a team like this and finish off Babe. If you're doing live series, you can get him. He's a great hitter. So definitely check out my page too, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Peace.